Hello, good morning, and welcome. It's Tracy Daviero from Your VA Mentor. And just one interesting note from last week. When I came to you live from my conference, I realized the following day that it actually wasn't your day for the live, although I'm not sure that I did one last week because I've been away and out of the office. So I'm coming to you a little bit sooner than last time, but still on our regular day of Monday at noon Eastern. So welcome, hello. I hope you guys all had a good weekend. And yeah, just trying to get back on track after being away from the office for so long and doing some training, doing some learning of my own, and getting things kind of organized for what's going to happen in my business in the next 6 months. So I want to thank you for being here. For those of you watching the replay, welcome to you as well. I love to hear your comments and your questions on the things that I talk about every week. So please feel free to include those. My topic this week is writing things down. And one of the things that we did a lot of last week, and I could show you my notebooks and my all that kind of stuff, is we really wrote down the things that we wanted to. Well, first of all, we went through a whole process. It was really a sort of a planning intensive is kind of what I was at. And so what we did was we went through and identified, sort of where our business is now. We identified the things that we want, where we want our business to go, the revenue we want to bring in, the, things that we want to do, the areas that we want to focus on, all that kind of thing. And then at the end, it was a 3-day intensive. And at the end of that, then we wrote everything down into what's actually called a roadmap. And so, we just kind of detailed the top 3 of everything. So from all the masses of notes and everything like that we made through the week, we had to make some choices. We had to make some decisions, because although you want to do everything in your business, you cannot do everything all at once. And you can do everything, but you have to sort of space it out, right? So one of the things that is really, really key is writing things down. And so I know that sounds like a really simple and kind of arbitrary sort of concept, but what writing things down helps you do, if you're writing things down that you have, already done, or sort of, listing where your business is at now, or the activities that, if you're talking about your marketing, if you write down the things that you're doing in your marketing right now, what it helps you to do is it helps you to, first of all, see, really clearly what you are doing, or what you have tried, what you have done in the past, so that you can get some clarity around it. Is it working for you? Is it not? How you can track the sort of ROI on it, or even just if it's something that's working for you. Because obviously anything that we do in our business outside of client work, we want to make sure that what we're doing is helping us to build our business, right? And so writing things down really gets you identifying with certain things. Is my marketing working? Are my sales conversations working? Do all of my profiles look right? Like all of the things that you need to sort of look at in your business. When you write them down, you get a really clear idea of what's in there, what's missing, and maybe what you can do more of. The other thing it helps you do is track things. So on an ongoing basis, if you're not tracking metrics in your business, like your analytics, like like your reach, your social media, or, your list, your email building list, or the contacts that you're making, if you're not quite email marketing yet, the people that you're connecting with at networking events and online, and your follow-up system, if you're not tracking that. So it's really important to be able to not just go through the motions every day, but really take some action in terms of looking at what you're doing, looking at the numbers that are in there, and tracking that kind of stuff to see. Because I know for myself, one of the things I realized last week is that I'm trying to do too much in too many places. And that's really, a lot of us are really guilty of that. We feel like we need to be everywhere and do everything. But then, we end up really not focusing on what it is that we need to do. So for me, I have to scale back and have a really, really clear purpose of what I'm doing in each area, whether that's going to live events, or whether that's networking, or doing social media marketing, or doing my, list building and trainings and all that kind of thing. Really get focused on what it is that I want to do, and you have to do the same. The other thing that writing things down does is it really reinforces what you are doing. We always tell you, if you are working on something, or if you need some inspiration, or you want to sort of not forget something, to write it down and post it near your work area, so that you are always thinking of it. If you have a goal, if you have a vision board, if you have something that you are working towards. And so writing things down anywhere are is a really good reminder for you. It's a really good way to keep something top of mind and not forget about it. And so that can be a goal. That can be, if you're paying off debt, or if you're, trying to gather money to buy a new car, or go on a trip, or even just take a training program, whatever it is that you want to be moving towards financially, it's always a really good idea to track that kind of stuff, but really keep it where you can see it. And so writing it down is always the first thing. The other thing that the final thing that you will always get from writing things down is you will get clarity around what it is. When when we work by ourselves all the time, we're very often, we don't talk to people. I'll go sometimes all day, unless I'm talking to you guys or my family. I won't talk very much through the course of the day. I just kind of go through things, and I talk to myself in my head. And so if I'm not writing things down, then, maybe I'm not seeing them as clearly as I should be seeing them. And so when you write something down, you can get a lot of clarity around it. A good example in this area is your marketing message. If you think you know what you're talking about when you go to a networking event, or when somebody asks you what your business is like, if you think in your head that you know what you're saying, it's definitely not the same thing as saying it out loud. And saying it out loud is very much, it's very similar to writing things down. So if you can write it down and read it, it's even better. When I proofread my newsletter, I often read it out loud, because my brain gets ahead and I know what I wrote. And so when I'm reading it, sometimes I'll miss things. So I try to read things out loud whenever I proofread them. Emails is another big thing. I always read them out loud. So writing things down is it's a real key to getting the clarity that you need in the messaging, or in whatever it is you want, that you need to say. When you are, and we did this exercise last week as well, I do it with all of my clients and all of my students, your marketing message, you write down what it is that you do, and in the most succinct language possible. But not just that, but you want to make sure that other people can understand it. And so we did this exercise, which was really fun, that, we each got up and we told everybody that what we did. And then our coach actually asked other people in the room to repeat what we did. And so you hear all of these people, you hear everything that they've said, you are listening, but if you can't pick out the key points and repeat it back in that, that quickly, it's really, really challenging. So we had to write it down and really get it so that it made more sense, and so that we were saying the words that we wanted to say. And it's not about reading it or not reading it, but it's about, not using jargon, and being really clear, and, not sort of talking arbitrarily, but talking very, very clearly about what it is that you know how to do and how you can help your clients. And so when we went through that exercise, it was a whole lot easier. And everybody always does, right? Whenever you do something and then you redo it and then you rewrite it, and coming up with writing it all down and figuring it all out and then reading it again, it's always 10 times clearer than it was whenever you first began. And so by the end of, our 3 days together, I'm very, very clear on what many of the people who were attending the workshop with me know what they do. And so, and I know, obviously we learned a lot about each other's businesses as well, but that's a really big one, is whenever you can write it down and get that clarity and really reinforce what it is that you want to say, it helps you to communicate in every way, right? It helps you to communicate personally with people, if you're doing face-to-face networking of any kind, or even if you're just writing your social media posts, if you're writing an update on your Facebook page, and it helps you to really hone what you want to say and make sure that it's going in the direction and telling people exactly what it is that you do for your clients. So. And the other piece of it is, if you're doing the tracking and you're doing the writing it down and getting the clarity and all that kind of thing, the last thing that writing things down helps you with is accountability. Now, if you're good enough to be accountable for yourself and help yourself be accountable, I think that's fabulous. But most of us aren't. In my experience, I know that's a real generalization, but for me, the people that I come into contact with, we let ourselves slide all the time. We put something on the calendar, but then there's nobody there to say, you didn't get that done on Friday, so you should have gotten it done. And so oftentimes, we push deadlines. I do it all the time, that I wanted to get something done and I didn't get something done. So accountability is a really important thing. When you write things down, and you do have a system or a person or a group that you can, help keep you accountable. It's really, really important to have those numbers and be able to see, okay, well, if I didn't get, say if I wanted to get, 5 sales conversations in a week, and by the end of the week I haven't gotten any, well, what was I doing? How was I spending my time? What were my daily actions to take me to that point where I could get those 5 sales conversations? What did I not do, and what can I do better? So accountability is really important because it helps you to figure out what went wrong, and why it went wrong. The real key with accountability is why. What happened, what got in the way, and what derailed you from what you were supposed to be doing. And so when you have, it could be a spreadsheet, it could be something on your wall, it could be a notebook, whatever it is. When you write down the things that you want to get done, and you look at the list at the end of the day or at the end of the week and you see that it's not done, you should be able to take a few moments and identify why that is, and how you can make the change so that you can be more successful moving forward. So I hope that gave you some helpful tips today. Writing things down, I know, is super simple, but I think a lot of us just don't do it. Like I say, if you're like me and you're sitting in your office all day and maybe not even uttering a word out loud because you're just doing work and you're thinking and you're doing all kinds of stuff, then I think it's probably a good idea for you to start to write things down and really start to get that clarity and help yourself solidify the things that you want to get done, whether it's goals or whether it's just a task list for the day, and hold yourself accountable to get the things done that you say you want to get done. Thanks very much. I hope you have a super week, and I'll see you guys next Monday because I'm not going to mess up the days anymore. So anyway, take care, and I love to hear your questions and comments. I'll see you next week. Thanks.